Welcome back to this week's episode of the C-Town Podcast, where Seattle business owners, entrepreneurs, and community leaders are invited on to share their stories with us. This week's interview is with Cami MacDonald, who, along with her husband Chris, owns West Side Music Academy here in West Seattle. Enjoy the interview.
Is it okay?
It's delicious.
Is it working? Good. Well, Cami, thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it. Today, my guest is Cami MacDonald from West Seattle Music Academy. Now, you're the founder of the music school, right?
I am. It's actually West Side Music Academy.
Sorry, West Side. What did I say?
West Seattle.
West Seattle.
It's
Okay,
easy.
West Side. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, people write checks half the time to West Seattle Music Academy. They still cash.
Sure.
So.
Yeah. Just call it WS Music Academy.
Yes,
You'll be
WS
right.
Music.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm the founder. I've been teaching piano in West Seattle for many years and opened that place in 1999. So my husband and I are in it together.
Okay.
I had been teaching prior to that, but
Okay. Just got out of your house, private lessons type thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then after we met, we decided to slowly expand.
Sure. So what was the big impetus for kind of expanding past just teaching out your house to an actual studio
So
space?
I was teaching out of the house on this block, and then bought that place in 99, and so just put a sign in the window.
Mm-hmm.
At that time I was calling it West Side Piano Studio. And I grew pretty quick just by having that sign up there, and I put some flyers around the schools and stuff.
Yeah.
So I had a full roster and a pretty big waiting list, and decided to see if my sister, Kate Voss, wanted to take on some of the students from the waiting list rather than just keep them waiting. So she came on board and started teaching, and then I met my husband, Chris, and he's like, well, I could teach guitar, so how about if we just all teach here?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it started, just with the three of us, and we lived there in the house. And
Okay.
so we had some rooms for teaching and some rooms for living. And
Sure.
And then it just sort of grew organically. You know, somebody would say, well, do you know a sax teacher? Like, oh, well, yeah, I do. And
Yeah.
violin, how about that? So just as people were asking, we brought in more fellow musicians that we already knew. And eventually, not too much later, we just were moving all of our personal stuff into one room
Yeah.
during the day so that we could teach. And then when the students were all gone, bringing it out at night to live, and doing that every day. So not
Okay.
too far down the road, we got run out.
Sure.
So we don't live there anymore. But
Sure. So it's
yeah.
full-time teaching studio space now.
Yep. Just music teaching.
Okay. And what, I assume it kind of caters to kids, or do you also do adult lessons? or-
We do everything, kids and adults. That we do have more kids than adults, but yeah, I have some morning shifts where I have adults that take a little break from work, or
Sure.
that are working from home or something, that stop and come in for a half-hour lesson once a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, did you and Chris grow up in West Seattle, or what's kind of your backstory?
No, I moved here in the early 90s, after having tried a bunch of different places, but obviously I was attracted to this place because I've stayed since then. And then Chris grew up in the Kent, Renton area, moved to California for a little bit, and then moved over here. Sometime in the 90s as well, maybe a few years after I did.
Sure. So, I mean, with with your business being, what, 15 years old-ish?
No, 17.
17 years, yeah. When you first started, what was the most challenging aspect of starting your own business?
I guess I'd say just marketing. It's not. I'm a musician and a music teacher, and so the
Sure.
business part of it has been something learned as needed.
Right.
So yeah, just figuring out how to advertise and draw people in.
Sure. It sounds like a lot of your business has come just from, the sign and kind of organic. word of
Yeah,
mouth
a
type
lot
stuff.
of word of mouth,
Yeah.
really. I think once we get families in, they're pretty happy, so they tell their friends, and people just keep coming.
Yeah.
Pretty lucky that way.
Sure. Well, that's awesome. It's a great way to grow a business for sure. What do you love most about your business, about what you do?
Oh, well, I love teaching, and I love when you get one of those students that it just really clicks and they're really loving it. And so such an honor to share a musical journey with a person. I've had a lot of students that start young at 5 or 6 and stay all the way till they graduate high school. Some even have gone to college and come back, and so the relationships that develop through music is pretty wonderful. I guess that's my favorite part.
Sure, I could see that. What would you say your greatest challenge that you face right now in business is?
Scheduling.
Yeah.
Definitely, busy families here in West Seattle, and everybody's needing certain times.
Sure.
And we've got 6 rooms and 14 teachers and
Sure.
only so many hours.
Just kind of coordinating all that, or just kind of...
Yeah, coordinating it and trying to, we want to give people the best experience they can get. So
Sure.
trying to get them in a place that works with the rest of their life. And
Right.
so we try, but
Yeah.
we're not always 100% able.
Sure. What would you say your business is known for? What kind of sets you apart from other, teaching schools in the area?
Well, for a long time we were the only music school in West Seattle, so it's kind of new. There's a couple other music schools now. I think that they focus more on rock and pop music, which we do as well. But we've also got, in the summertime, we do chamber music groups and jazz combo. And so we've got a good classical and jazz staff and students, and can develop that and kind of work with what the band and orchestra teachers are doing in the schools to support those programs as well.
Okay. Kind of getting into the, I don't know, maybe a little more the personal side of things. What would you say the first 90 minutes of each day looks like for you?
Well, we have 2 kids, so it's getting up early and trying to get them out the door is always a bit of a
little controlled chaos.
hustle. Yeah, sometimes controlled.
Yeah.
Leans towards chaos more probably. So there's that, and then I usually, as soon as they're gone, attend to whatever was left over from the night before.
Yeah.
Emails or returning phone calls or making posters or dealing with some scheduling things, makeup lessons, stuff like that.
Sure. Now, do you, as the owner and founder, you could still get a chance to be hands-on with teaching, or do you have...
Yes.
Okay, so it's not just, running the day-to-day business.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't like that. Teaching is definitely stronger in my heart.
Yeah.
So, I teach 2 days a week. I think I'm going to be adding another day a week in January. It started with 6 days a week, and then since I had kids, they're 8 and 10 now. We tried to whittle it down, so I'm home in the afternoons more often when they're home from school. But
okay.
Yeah.
What would you say is your greatest strength?
Personally, or
Personally or
business-wise,
business? Yeah, either. Sometimes the lines blur. So.
Well, I guess I would say both personally and with business. Our goal is really to share the love and joy of music. So I feel like we've got such a great cast of teachers on our staff that are like-minded in that just really music is for each individual, for your soul and just for yourself. And we offer opportunities for performance or competition if people want that, but really it's an individual thing. So I think that our atmosphere is calm and creative and promoting that love that hopefully comes from within each student and drawing that out. So I feel like we're good at that.
Yeah.
That's our strength.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, now that you mentioned that, I kind of think, as far as the skill sets go, as far as what people are into, seems like musicians, you don't meet too many that are serious about it and not passionate about music, know. So I guess that's a nice thing, kind of inherent with the musical skill set and and doing that. So yeah, that's cool. What is one habit that you wish you had?
Personally, I wish I had a habit of exercising. I'm busy a lot at the piano bench and at the computer, and I do have a dog, so I get to go out and walk her. But
Sure.
So yeah, I guess I don't know if that pertains to business, but that's a habit I wish I had.
Hey, I mean, usually the things that lead to a healthy lifestyle also translate into healthy business,
Suppose,
focus
yeah.
and stuff. So yeah. So kind of going into the next section, I'd like to kind of talk about some of your experiences and how they've kind of impacted where you've gone in business and whatnot. So I mean, maybe you could take a second to tell me a story about one of your worst entrepreneurial moments, kind of one of those big mistakes you might have made along the way.
Well, I think maybe our biggest blunder was trying out sharing our building space, which seemed at the time like a good idea. It was a good program that needed a space to be, but we rented for a brief time, about a year, maybe a year and a half, to a local preschool, which is a good program,
Sure.
for sure, but just the way it crowded the building, and we were trying to help her out a little bit by not charging very much for rent, but then it just turned out that we didn't realize the expenses involved with having a tenant in the building, and how much it actually put a damper on the peace and the creative space for our students, because it seemed crowded and chaotic, and we had to work around that rather than just being free to use our space and time in the creative way we had been used to. So I don't think we'll do that again.
Yeah.
But live and learn.
Sure. What do you feel like the big takeaway experience from that was?
Well, I think the environment that you're working in for creativity is just really important. I think it really matters who is around and what the mindset and atmosphere is. It's hard to get yourself in a creative space if there's things that are worrying you.
Sure. So kind of being able to have full control over that space and the environment. And
yes. So that environment is, to me, more valuable than any income that could happen by
Seemed like a good idea,
jeopardize that.
Sure. That's the challenge with a lot of the lessons we learn in business. You don't really, there's no way to know,
Right.
Without the hindsight,
Yes.
So we move into the next section, which is what I like to kind of call the lightning round, just kind of quick questions, quick answers.
Okay.
In the past, what was holding you back from becoming an entrepreneur?
Well, I just never really thought of being a business person, I guess. I've always considered myself a musician or a teacher, so I only did it because people were asking me to do it.
Yeah.
I guess.
Okay. What's the best advice you've ever received?
That's a tough one. I'm sure that somebody somewhere along the way has given me really good advice, but the only thing I could think of to that question is a quote that I read, and I'm not a person that goes for gushy quotes, really, but is the harder I work, the luckier I get. And I still think that's true. I like to think that I am lucky. I am lucky to be able to make my living in something I'm so passionate about, but I am more lucky the harder I work.
Sure. Well, that's a great blessing to be able to do something you love.
Yes.
What is one personal habit that contributes to your success?
Practicing. I sit down and practice every day that I can. And I think that keeps the love of music in me, which is, I think, the spark that we have that draws people in.
Sure.
So.
If you could recommend just one book to our listeners, what would it be?
It is, what is it? I have, forgive me for stalling, I can see it in my mind. The Artist's Way, that's it. The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron.
Okay. And what is that about?
It's kind of a workbook on finding your creative self. So there's lots of parts to read, but then questions that you answer and exercises for you to do as an individual to just bring out whatever your creative passion is.
Okay. Sounds pretty interesting. And in wrapping up, can you share with us one piece of parting guidance?
Parting guidance. follow your passion, I guess.
Sure. That's a good one. And if our listeners want to find out more about your business or are interested in taking lessons themselves, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
They can call anytime. They can email from our website, westsidemusicacademy.com. And Stephanie, our wonderful front desk person and music therapist, is in the office in the afternoons from 3 to 7 weekdays. But
Okay.
we make appointments too if those hours don't fit for people.
Okay. And what is your the phone number?
206-937-2343.
Okay. And you guys have a website and a Facebook page, I assume? Or?
Yep, we're on
Okay.
Facebook and westsidemusicacademy.com.
All right. Sounds good. Well, thank you very much, Cami, for being a guest on here.
Thanks for having me.
All right.
Appreciate it.
All right. See you next time.
Okay.
That wraps up this episode. Don't forget to subscribe to the C-Town podcast on iTunes, as well as take a moment to rate and review my podcast and share it with your friends. If you want to hear more episodes or find out more about the podcast, you can go to the website at ctownpodcast.com. That's sea-townpodcast.com. I would also love to hear from you, the listener, with any suggestions or feedback you have for me or recommendations for guests to invite on the show. You can email me directly at christianharris@ctown.com. You can also find out more about me and other projects I'm working on by visiting ctown.com, sea-town.com. Thanks for listening.